You've written a story for children, but you say you can't draw. You need an illustrator. But how do you find these mythical creatures? Today's video is all about how to find the right illustrator for your book. Howdy Space Cats, it's Jules here, and a very big socially distant hug to all of our new visitors. I think you'll find it's pretty friendly here, and there is one thing that we all have in common, and that is we all love to make stories for children. Whether you're an author, an illustrator, or if you just have a desire to make a story, I think you'll find the videos on this channel of drawing, planning and publishing quite useful. Just make sure that you subscribe in the corner down there, ding the bell next to it for all notifications on my uploads. The first thing you need to consider is what are you actually asking of your illustrator. Don't assume that because they are professional they will know exactly what you need. At the very least, you need these following things: book title, description, age range of potential audience, the format of the book. Is it going to be a picture book, early readers, a chapter book, estimated number of illustrations, and also estimated date of publication. Next, where do you start to look for your illustrator? Well, online seems to be the obvious answer, but there must be thousands and thousands of illustrators out there. How do you whittle it down? Well, you need to look for freelance illustrators. You can start somewhere like the Association of Illustrators, or visit other websites that specifically have portfolios of freelance illustrators on it. You might also be able to get hold of publications for writers. In the UK, we've got the Writers Forum and Writing Magazine. Or if you're in another country, just do a search for them. Or perhaps you might have some word of mouth recommendations. Maybe you can do a Facebook search or an Instagram search. Just search for something like freelance illustrators in, and then put your country. How can you tell if they are the illustrator for you? Have a look at their website. What sort of media do they use? For example, if you had in your mind that you want your pictures to be in watercolour, do they also use watercolour in their illustrations? Have they ever done any children's publications before? If they have pages and pages of scary, dark surrealism, it might not be the right thing. You might find a few different illustrators that you like the look of. Next, you could contact them with an outline of your book and a few details, and inquire whether they take commissions like yours. Don't take it as read that they would definitely want to do your story. Ask if they have room in their schedule to complete your work by your publication date. And another really important thing is to ask their rates. Try not to faint or say something ill-mannered when they tell you. Illustrators have often studied for a really long time. My education post-school took 6 years, and the fee will often reflect research and development, as well as layouts and any tweaks or things that you need to change. It's really important that you iron out these sorts of things before you actually take on the illustrator. Make sure you know what their fee is going to encompass. If they tell you that an image is going to cost you, say, £100, does that include any minor changes, or will you have to pay on top of that? Once you have chosen your illustrator and they have accepted your work, you should draw up an agreement. That should cover the cost, either per image, or for the whole job, or per hour. If you do make it per hour, make sure you put a cap on the amount of work and the amount of cost it's going to come to, and get them to estimate how many hours they think it's going to take them to do that work. It should also cover who has the copyright for the images. It's usually the illustrator, but if you want copyright of the illustrations so that you can use them for other things, then you will have to come to an agreement about that and probably pay for it. Oh, and agree some deadlines for the research and development, the layout stage, and then of course the final pieces of work delivery. Your agreement also ought to state that you will receive your illustrations as digital files with the right resolution, the right size, and in an appropriate format. So for me, I always send my illustrations as high resolution as PDFs, but some people prefer them as JPEGs. You will need to communicate very clearly with your illustrator. If you've written a spooky story with a Victorian house in it, then you will need to tell them about this. because despite the fact that they are a professional illustrator, they are not normally also a mind reader. So make sure you talk things through with them and send them a copy of the text. Illustrators should supply you with a rough drawing of the images to start with. This way you can work out together if things look right or if there are any changes that need to happen before they start doing any colour work. Although you might have an idea of what you want, do be open-minded to what your illustrator suggests as well, because sometimes they might think of something absolutely genius that you haven't even thought of. Illustrators are programmed to look at a page and see what are the important elements of the illustration, what things will jump out to the reader. So take their advice on it too. How much should you expect to pay? It can be very varied depending on the illustrator's experience and how much they want to do your job. You might pay anywhere between £300 and £3,000 for a front cover, but illustrations inside the book would be a lot less. A small black and white drawing at the beginning of a chapter will of course cost a lot less than if you are producing a picture book that's got a double page spread and it's full colour. If you're writing a picture book and you agree on a fee of £5,000, a 32-page picture book with pictures on every page plus of course the front and back cover, that works out to £156 per page, which isn't a huge amount when you take into account how much work has gone into that page. If you are game to have a go at your own illustrating for your story, then I have something that might help you. Step by step illustrating a children's picture book is a comprehensive look at how to get from words on a page to a published picture book in your hands. The preview is free, the link is in the description box below, and that will tell you a lot more about the course itself. It's currently on lockdown special price, so do go along and have a look at that before the price goes up again. And if you discover it's not for you, there is a 14-day money-back guarantee. There are some ideas on how to find an illustrator and what to expect from them. Next week we are looking at, let me see in my bullet journal, how to draw hands. I'm off to reinvent the hagfish. I'll see you next time. Nanu nanu!